Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that part of it's pretty good. Well, come on in. I'll show you the tasting room, and then we'll take a little walk around. I don't know what everyone's interested in seeing. You guys want to see the vineyards, or just customer areas, the cellar, just whatever you want to see. Let me know. I'll be happy to show you everything.
We got swells.
All right, so this space is my main tasting room, and also just my only all-weather seating. So we added this about 4 years ago. So I have air-conditioned seating in the summertime and a cozy room for the wintertime. Prior to that, we were pretty much just an outdoor venue. Yeah. So the fireplace will keep that running all winter long. So it's nice ambiance and quite cozy, as I said.
Sorry.
I'm not used to being the subject of pictures.
Lots of photos.
Little odd for me.
Just smile.
Just smile. I'll keep smiling. It's all good. Right? Yeah, as I said, we'll come back in here and do a tasting after the
I don't know if this door opens too.
All right. So this space here, this is my main wedding tent. It's a 40 by 80 tent. We can seat up to 300 people for an event in here. And this got almost all my brides and all the weddings and events. They like this tent just because it has such a nice view of the vineyard and the lake.
It's beautiful.
I feel like you guys are really quiet. So I don't know if that-
Taking it in. Yeah.
First stop. Yes.
First
Yeah.
off, no
Yeah.
worries. Huh? But yeah, so we've actually built this. It's kind of a fun story. When we first built the patio, it was a 30 by 80, and we put two 30 by 30 tents on the end, and we had a little open space in between. And we were pretty early on then, and my dad over here was like, "You'll never fill it," And then within 1 year, it was filled to the point where we needed to expand. So then we made it a 40 by 80, but it was just the pad. And then, like another 5 or 6 years later, we added everything around it and added the lower patio down below. So during a nice event, people will, the tables and chairs will be here for dining and for the meal, but then they can use the lower fountain patio for, like a mixer, cocktails, and just for kind of the wedding photos and that kind of thing. So I'm sure if you go online, you can find lots of photos of all this stuff.
Yes.
Is the pond stocked? Is the pond stocked?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fish in there. The thing is, like, when you take something like this from recreation, from a hobby to a business, it's like, I don't think I fished in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
My kids come out here and fish with grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
But, I haven't fished in quite a while.
How long have you been here?
We opened in 01,
Okay.
so going on 17 years, 18 years.
And your father started it, was that right?
Yeah, Dad. All right. My
Hey.
Dad started it. Mom always describes this as a retirement gone haywire.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Because Mom and Dad had a television and electronics repair sales and repair shop in South County, and they sold that in 1988. Retired, came out here, and Dad started planting grapes just to make some wine for himself and his Italian buddies. They're all big into wine. So one thing led to another, and here we are.
And they were drunk one night, and then
Yeah.
Yes. And said, hey, I have an idea.
I distinctly remember the conversation. If other people can do it, gosh, we can do it too.
Yes.
Right? So that's how it all. That's how it all,
it's all
kind of
your
got started, Yeah, you are guilty. Yeah, and then the pond. I mean, I think the pond adds nice ambiance. If we could just get rid of the duckweed, that stuff is evil. If you ever had a pond, oh, it's terrible. It showed up about 4 years ago, and we've been fighting it ever since.
so the
It's algae, right?
It's actually a floating plant.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh,
And
really?
the stuff that we have is actually called millweed. It's literally, the leaves are the size of a pinhead.
Oh, my gosh.
So
That's the green stuff out there, the
Yeah.
little foggy
all
stuff
in
like
the
that.
corner. So we wait for the wind to blow it all to one end, and then we have a net that we
Oh.
cordon it off with. But we had so much rain last week that it blew the net out and it went everywhere. So we'll have it corralled again by this weekend.
So was the property purchased
Yeah, we
specifically for, oh no, he purchased it to,
well, they retired. So Mom and Dad lived in
Right.
a house up there. So they retired out here, and when I take you around, you'll see there's an old log cabin. It's actually an old dog trot cabin on the property. And believe me, it didn't look anything like what it does now. It was literally continually inhabited for a couple hundred years, and just hodgepodge all added on. So we gutted that and rebuilt it and cleaned it up, and now we've added on to it a couple of times. But yeah, so they started out just in that little cabin, and none of the patios, the tents, there was nothing here. Yeah, if you could go back in time 15 years ago, you would have found the cabin and a little 15 by 20 concrete patio with a few tables on it.
Not
That's all we
funny.
had.
yeah.
Anyway, so this is our area over here, and then I'm going to swing around to the other side. On this end, we have if there's a wedding, we close this space for the day. It's too hard to get people to leave at 2 o'clock so we can set up for the wedding. But this side over here is kind of our customer area, so it's always open for reservations or for walk-in customers. Policel, that's as in mall. O-L-E-S-E. L-E-S-E-L. It doesn't sound Italian, but supposedly it is, yeah.
You think they took the eye off or something?
I don't know.
Oh, Sally?
I know.
No, you're right.
Well, I know, like some of my family members have traced back to Ellis Island and all that, and the name was Policel.
Okay, yeah.
But the town that my dad comes from is Cisalto, which is in just north of Venice, 50 or 60 kilometers. And supposedly that area has been part of lots of different empires. So who knows? Maybe we're Czech, maybe we're,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows what the actual origin is? Because Dad always said every town up there has a different ethnicity. I mean, it's part of Italy, but as I said, one might be more German, one might be more
Sure.
Czech, one might be more Austrian. It's
That
just
sounds
kind of,
like a likely.
yeah, so something got mixed up in there.
You said your father, did he used to live in Italy or his
My dad,
family?
both my parents are immigrants, Mom and Dad both.
Okay.
So my dad's his earliest remembrances are growing up on a farm in Italy. All right, and it's funny. It's the story he always tells. There were no wineries in Italy in the 1940s. Okay, you had farms, and the farms grew many crops, including grapes. And of the grapes, they would make wine, and then they would barter and trade the wine at the general store, or like he has an Italian term for it. But so you would basically trade your wine for whatever else you needed, clothing or shoes or whatever it was. So I mean, there might have been a few estates, wealthy families that just made wine, but at his level, it was family farms. So he remembers that. He remembers, being with his father, digging trenches on the hillsides. He said they would dig a trench when they were planting a new vineyard, armpit deep, and then they would fill it with any kind of organic material they could, straw, branches, clippings, whatever. And then they would fill it back in, and then they would plant the vines because they had no money for fertilizer. They had no, he grew up in a house without running water. It was a valuable house because it was one of the closest to the fountain in the center square. Right? So you kind of think about that. That used to define a more valuable home because you didn't have to walk as far for water.
What town did you say he was
It was
from?
Cisalto.
Okay.
And he immigrated when he was 16, I want to say, and he was born in 35, so I guess you do the math, 51, 52,
16.
somewhere in there.
And did he just come by himself?
No, his it's another kind of odd story. His father was a migrant worker. He was here in the 1930s. He was actually a foreman at a cement plant in Illinois, and his job was as pace setter, loading and unloading rail cars of cement, 96-pound bags of cement. So he would do that all day long, and he did it for quite a while until he got cement poisoning because there was no safety gear, there was no mask. He just worked. So when he could no longer work, they went back to Italy. And so my father's two oldest sisters were born here, and then he and the youngest sister were born in Italy. And then after my grandfather passed away, again from complications from the cement poisoning, the family decided it would be better. You know, it was post-World War II. They had 2 citizens, you know, by birth, so it was better to come back. And they came back to St. Louis because that's what they knew. So yeah, they sent the first 2 daughters who were U.S. citizens here, and then they sponsored the rest of the family to come back over.
Very interesting story.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And my mom's family is fairly interesting as well. She was born in Istria, which until the end of World War II was part of
Etria?
Istria, Istria. It's a little peninsula. It's on the Dalmatian coast, just to the east and south of Venice. So the regional town is Pula, P-U-L-A, and her town was Galazan. But it's just this little peninsula of ground on the Adriatic coast. And again, end of World War II, the Italians there had a choice. You either swear allegiance to a communist, you know, dictator, or you leave. And my grandfather decided to leave. So they ended up living in different refugee camps around Italy. She'd be mad if she's not happy about the fact that I tell this story. But she grew up in these
Clarification, should we not print then?
No, I don't care.
Okay. Well, you may not care. I'm asking about your mom.
Well, I think it's. Well, she grew up feeling the stigma, you know, for growing
Sure.
up in a refugee camp because,
Okay.
you know, she didn't have a real home. They lived in
Sure.
army barracks or whatever. But I think now it's an important story to tell. You know what I mean? Because certainly she's no less capable than any other woman
Right.
or any other person, and she's found a lot of success in life. So, you know, it doesn't hurt for the story to be told.
I mean, I think it's a perfect example of overcoming incredible adversity
Right.
and still having a fulfilling life.
Right, I think so. So, as I said, they grew up in different areas around Italy until the end of the Hungarian Revolution, when they removed the quotas for immigrants, and a lot of people were able to come over, and that's why they came here in, I want to say, 1956. So, anyway,
And what were their names?
my
mom and
mom's
dad?
name is Fernanda,
Fernanda?
and her last name is Tarticchio, which at least it sounds Italian.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to digress.
No, it's
But,
interesting.
So this patio, we built this like 4 years ago, and we just needed more space. So this is always open for customers to come in. They got a nice view of, you know, the vineyard and everything.
I actually have one more question.
yeah.
What did you do before your father said, here you go?
Actually, I was out of college. I went into the Army, so I'm a former Army engineer, and my degree is in engineering. So when I got out, I went back to engineering, got my professional engineering certification, did that for quite a while, and then when I got married in 2001, I told my dear wife, I don't want to move. I really need to try and build this winery full time, and she graciously allowed that. So I worked here from like 2001 to 2005 with, you know, we just put everything back in. I didn't get paid at all. Mom and Dad still really don't get paid. And, you know, we just reinvested and just built the place back up.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Thank you.
yeah. Anyway, so this is the other tent. Not much different, just a little bit smaller. Over here, we have the little pavilion area, and I have a little pop-up bar that we open on weekends so people don't have to walk as far for their product.
Until the consumer price index is 5%, 2% is the most we'll ever have.
So I know it looks empty today, but believe me, like if you came back on Saturday,
Yeah.
pretty much everything here would be filled, and I'll have, you know, on a good day, I'll have a couple hundred more people out on the lawns.
Wow.
And it's just, it gets intense. So on a busy day, I'll have about 1,000 people on the grounds at one time. And then I'll have a Tuesday when I'll have 4 people. So, you know, it is what it is.
So do you have like a flexible staff that?
I do. We just staff up on weekends. You know, I have a core of like 6 of us that are here pretty much,
All the time.
you know, all the time. But then a long time ago, I learned that I can't keep core staff if I make them work every weekend. So I have weekend managers, which are mostly my weekend staff are teachers, believe it or not. For whatever reason, they just, you know, I guess they like the they like it, and I like the fact that they know all the young people. So I really don't have a problem with underage drinking or, anything stupid like that.
So how many does it take
What are you laughing
to
about?
manage the property when you've got 1,000 people?
I'll probably have about 13 or 14 staff on hand. I'll have, my shift manager. I'll have 5 bartenders, a tasting bartender, 4 or 5 people in the kitchen, 2 grounds people, and maybe a product runner.
Wow.
So,
And that almost seems like it would take more, because 1,000
Yeah.
people just sounds...
it's a lot of people. But not everyone's, once
No,
you
I
get a bottle
understand.
of wine, you're good for,
it's true.
hopefully you're good for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But we also have daytime reservations that go underneath here. So it might be some large groups of up to 100 people, and they can pre-order their product and their food.
Yes.
So
So you know what they need.
we know what they need, and we just have it stashed and ready for them.
Right.
Right. So it really kind of helps.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this patio here is super popular in early spring. Well, anytime when it's cool out, because it's always 10 degrees warmer here, as you can probably feel. But also a lot of times when I have a wedding going on over there, I'll put the live music on this side. And again, like the whole north area along the trees there, that's all grass overflow parking. So I'll have cars double parked just all the way down on that
Wow.
side. Anyway. Any questions about?
Not yet.
Keep moving. All right. Let's kind of go around. I'll take you down to the cellar, and then we'll swing up. You guys want to see the kitchen and the wood-fired pizza oven and all that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let's let them catch up on food, and then we'll hit that at the end. Does everyone mind going up the retaining wall, or do we need to go around? All right. I'm lazy, so.
You have to help me. I'm old.
I'll be happy to help anyone that needs it.
Where are we going? Butterflies and bees, all happy pollinators.
I have no idea where we're going.
I don't either. We'll wait for our leader.
Did he have to help you too, honey?
No.
No, your man.
Yes.
Good friends yesterday.
That's awesome.
She gave me the deluxe tour of St. Louis at last.
Yeah. There's actually, I don't know where you're from, but I feel like St. Louis is a pretty good town.
I think it's inexpensive.
There's a lot going on if you just take the time to go out and do it. Weekend weather to my sales. And we had no days, honestly, we had no days in April or May with sunny and 70 or 60 degrees for a high. There was none. It was either 50s or 80s. And of course, we survived in that zone of 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do low 80s and still be really busy, but once you get above 85 and the humidity cranks up, people aren't thinking winery.
Yeah.
So this messy space is like, well, it's my storage area basically. So everything from wedding arbors, tanks, harvest bins, extra bottles, whatever, it's all pretty much out here. The process we use when we pick is we used the 1-ton harvest bins. So we just use regular old 5-gallon buckets. The pickers, we hand pick everything, and then it goes into the harvest bins. We weigh and log the harvest bins on the scale, and then they come in and they get dumped, sorted, and crushed. So pretty standard. We're just really small.
How many acres do you have planted?
We have 40 acres of ground, and we have about 10 acres of vines.
Okay.
And they're pretty much all mature now. Although we're constantly in a state of kind of repair. It's like 2007-8, that extreme drought really hurt us. We lost some plants there, so we've been infilling. And I don't know if you guys know a lot about hybrid plants, but our Chardonnay vineyard, that's one of my largest blocks, about 2 acres. And we've really been struggling to get that healthy ever since then. It's just, we keep retraining them and bringing them up, and then something else seems to knock them down. So
I would have thought those would be hardier being hybrid.
they're hardier than a true
It's
Chardonnay,
disease, right.
but they're not as hardy as
Right.
most other hybrids.
Got
Because
it.
the Chardonnay is a cross between Seyval, which is another hybrid, and Chardonnay, and I think it's just a little more sensitive than a lot of the
Okay.
other grapes. At least that's what's happening here. I can't speak to the rest of the state.
Are you planning to plant more?
No, not Chardonnay.
I mean, anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to probably in the next few years. But I'm also looking to get into beer, so we're actually working on our application for microbrew, and we're going to start distilling hopefully this year, just under our existing license. So I've got all that stuff going on. So my next priority is to plant some hops because I want to be able to locally source my hops.
Yes.
And I have a really sad-looking stand of hops that we just threw in the bottom down there before I realized that it's not a water-loving plant, and the roots can go down 17 feet. So I'm like, we'll be digging those up this winter and moving them. But it's all good. You got to learn some things the hard way.
Do you make any non-estate wine?
I was just getting around to that, wondering if you bought any grapes from elsewhere.
Sometimes I'll buy a little bit of grapes from elsewhere in the state. And then like in terrible year, as you guys know, when there is no crop, then you
have
get
to.
your grapes from wherever you can.
Yeah.
But our goal is to grow all of our own fruit. I like to be able to control the quality of the fruit, you know. And I really, really hate machine harvested grapes because it's just, you got snakes and bugs and, you got
You
weeds.
sound like a woman.
It comes in and it's already all liquid. It's just it's a god-awful mess. I don't like it, but, you do what you have to do sometimes. Because, like you read about these guys in California and they can stipulate the sugar, they can stipulate, the ripeness, the berry. They can cover everything, and it's like here, it's basically some farmer saying, "Do you want it or not?" And that's unfortunately that's where the industry is here. So this is my cellar, if you will. So I have the 3 closed top tanks where I do most of my fermentation. I have the overflow tanks, when I can't handle it all, and we basically just cover those with plastic and duct tape. But I can do at least a controlled fermentation on everything. After we get through the primary fermentation, we do all the filtering, all the aging, all the storing. Everything's pretty much here.
How many cases do you do per year?
Maybe 3,000, 2,500.
Okay.
Yeah, this year's going to be a little bit less because my harvest was pretty terrible. It wasn't exactly a good growing season for me. But last year was like massive. Last year was the best harvest I'd ever had. And that's what you guys will be trying today for the most part. So
That's where you have to plan ahead, I suppose, because...
it's actually going to work out because I had an oversupply from last year. I'll be undersupplied this year, so it'll balance itself out. I know it's not... My wife keeps telling me that she wanted to see the underground cellar with the brick and everything.
Oh, that'd
old
be
world
nice.
and beautiful. And I'm like, hey, you got the money, we'll build it.
That'd be nice, but
But this works for now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is our cellar. You guys want to head up and eat real quick, or do you guys want to go through the vineyard? I don't know how hungry everybody is. What time is it?
What time
It is
12:15.
Too late now, like between 12 and 12:05.
Well,
I don't know
another
about
11 and a half hours, you'll be ready.
If everybody we're good. Do we have time to go in the vineyard real quick?
Yeah. We don't have to leave here till 2:30.
So there's plenty of time.
Well, why don't we do it now then? That way we're not too full afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? If nobody's starving. Well, we could walk it off. That's true too.
Well, whatever you guys want to
I
do.
don't care.
You mean the vineyard?
Yeah, walk.
As
Oh,
long as we leave out here about 2:30.
flip a
That's just
coin.
me. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not hungry, so
I wouldn't think
Do it. Vineyard or eating?
yeah,
I'm getting there, but I can wait a little longer.
doesn't matter to me. I can eat. I cannot eat. I can eat. I cannot eat.
Breakfast options at the hotel were quite pathetic.
Oh, were they? We had good. We stayed at.
That's what my daughter and I are trying to do.
We're gonna make that happen no matter what.
Are you guys familiar with Norton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we are, but let's.
I'm not.
Yeah, tell
Well,
us.
Norton's a great. It's a really good wine grape. All right, it's a small berry. All right, you're gonna have usually 2 or 3 really big seeds in here. So you don't get a whole lot of fruit or a whole lot of juice out of these guys. Like this one here has a couple of seeds. See there? I don't know if you can see that, but one berry, skin, 3 seeds, a little bit of pulp.
Tiny bit of pulp.
Tiny bit of
Yeah.
pulp, right?
Yeah.
So you get a really, I mean, it's a really big flavor because there's so much.
So it's concentrated?
Yeah,
Concentrated.
it's just really good.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know my fingers.
I'm like, I need that picture for the article.
Like, you really want to see that? But
I'm thinking.
anyway,
I need that too. My photographer needs to take a picture.
all right. Anyway, but yeah, so literally, you know, most red grapes like my Chamberson over here, which is a much more normal hybrid, I can get 180, I can get 200 gallons per ton. All right, I get a lot of juice out of that. The Norton, I'm like at 150. You know what I mean? You just, you know, and when you first crush it and start the fermentation process, that cap comes up so high, and then it's like trying to break up the cap. We not just pump over to wet it down. We actually always come up with basically push pads or sticks. You know what I mean? But you can't make it more than like, you know, 4x6 or even 3x6 because you just literally cannot
Oh wow.
push it down. It's just
Like
it's that
cement?
tight.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really tough. But after it's been fermenting for about 24 hours, it really, you know, all the skins break
Softens up.
down. You get all the liquid, the pulp breaks down, and then it's a lot easier. But that first day after you start the fermentation is brutal. But it
you
gives you a
wouldn't-
really heavy.
You wouldn't get much juice out of it then for the maceration part, right?
No.
No, I mean, because it's
Right.
not in there, right?
Right.
I mean,
if
Okay.
you don't, if you don't ferment it on the skins, I know some people have like tried to do a rosé on it, but I can't imagine what your
Right.
what your yield would be. It would just be, I don't know.
Huh.
I'm not trying it, so. But anyway, I think I mentioned earlier that this is the last. My Norton's the last grape that I have not harvested. Part of it is, you know, the extreme heat this summer. So even though the grapes came out 3 weeks late, we ended up harvesting 2 weeks early.
Which was about when?
We actually started the second week of August.
Okay.
I brought in a lot of my whites to Cayuga and Seyval. Chardonnay, within 10 days, I had to bring all that in. And the other complicating issue that we had this year was just a tremendous amount of birds and fur bearers.
yes.
So even though we netted for the birds, then the raccoons came in. Raccoons, pump skunks. See if I can say that again. Raccoons, skunks, possums, and squirrels. And they'll go on top of the nets. They'll tear through the nets.
Yep.
They'll do whatever. So some of the grapes I had to pick before I wanted, but it was a matter of
Sure.
pick it or lose it. So that's how here it is. What, the 10th or whatever of September, and this is all that's left. So
And when do you think you're going to take that?
probably next week. So we'll see. I mean, I'd like to let it wait a couple more weeks, but we'll see how much damage is in the back corner over there, because we've been trapping raccoons and stuff, but it's not enough to.
So
to
you'd
stop
harvest
the
early
damage.
because of the pests?
If I have to, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Preferably, I'll wait for this stuff to get to 24 bricks and the seeds to brown out and be nice and ready, but we'll just have to wait. You guys
Okay.
are welcome to. You guys want to try some?
oh, those are nice. That was really good. Those are ripe. You can pull those.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else?
That was really nice.
Yeah, it's a good grape.
Really good.
Table grape.
If you could sell a table grape with those seeds, I'd be impressed. Someone would break their dentures and be in trouble.
Yeah, there's not much juice in there at all, is there?
No, but there's a big flavor. Yeah. You guys have
That's nice.
Such a dark, inky grape.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that with the wine.
Yeah. That's good.
If you want a cool photo,
Did you get this one in here?
you can
you see
stick your
that?
camera and run it down.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Right?
that?
If you can manage
Oh,
it.
that's cool. That's a good idea.
Oh, that is very cool.
Sorry.
You can actually see all
I'm
the.
sinking in the wet ground in my new sandals. I'm going to come over here and stand with you.
Well, I was just going to say, stay out of the way.
No, they're small,
Listen.
very small clusters.
I got to stay up close so I can.
Here's a, do you want to take log good photos? Do you want to hold on to the
Oh, there you
people for that
go.
second round? It's really good.
Some more grapes?
Oh, no, I'm good. Your nails are pretty though. You'd be a good photo girl.
Oh, they
You know?
actually need a fill, but thank you.
I better pause
That
this.
was 15 years, 14, 15 years. It's pretty old.
Norton in front of the picture, 14, 15 years old.
And it's been, cut down and retrained a couple of times. So.
Now, how do they, because I notice, the foliage is covering almost all of the bunches, so how are they getting their sun right now? Because they're so
believe it or not,
full.
I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is actually on a double curtain.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And we comb it out in the spring, winter pliable. So the center is relatively open. So they get in the sun mostly through the center.
Oh, we just can't see
but
that
you
there's
can't
sun that can
really see that-
peek through there.
Right. Well, and this late in the season, it probably needed to be combed again, but we just
Okay.
ran out of time.
Got it.
The other section over there is probably a little bit better maintained.
Okay. This one's beautiful though.
I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah.
But the Norton seems to develop really well. Even, being shaded, my potassium content is going to be higher than I'd like it. And my pH will be up there a little bit. But you always have to add
Your
tartaric anyway.
Your potassium is going to be up a little higher.
On the
so-
berries, yeah. Norton
Yeah.
is a really tough grape to make in the sense that, in the berry you're doing some ion exchange, and the roots are sucking up too much potassium compared to most other red grapes.
Oh, okay.
All right, and it's stealing the hydrogen. So
Okay.
you're basically exchanging potassium for hydrogen, and that raises the pH on a berry. So I've harvested Norton before when the pH was 3.8. It's just a really high pH, and of course after fermentation it wants to go up again. So you have to hit it hard with tartaric and rebalance that hydrogen potassium sort of thing.
What's your desired pH?
When I'm done with it, I want it to be at 3.5 or
3.5. Okay.
yeah. That's what I shoot for. Some people are happy with their Nortons, going in a bottle at 3.8 or 3.9. I still like to keep it below 3.6. Just, style.
Cool. I'm a pharmacist, so when you said that, I was like, wait a minute.
That's cool. So do you still do pharmacy?
Yeah. Part-time.
Part-time. All right,
Part-time.
that's cool.
This part-time, that part-time.
Let's keep moving up this way. Yeah, now my hands are all sticky. Okay, so it's not real pretty. But, this is my most common red grape.
3228
I grow-
Chamberson.
I grow more Chamberson per ton than Norton, and I make most of my red wines come out of this. So, Savina Rosa, which is a light sweet wine, is Chamberson. The Rosa Valentina, which is my sweet red, is basically a Chamberson.
Now, remind us, because I always get these confused with the Missouri grapes. Which ones are native and which ones
Norton's
are
native. This is hybrid.
hybrid? Okay. Chardonnay's a hybrid.
Pretty
Vidal,
much everything else that I have here is a hybrid,
Concord is
except
not.
for the Norton.
Concord and Norton.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so that's easier to remember.
Yep.
That Concord, Norton.
So you'll have Vignole, Vidal, Saval, Chardonnay,
Yeah.
Chamberson, Cayuga.
Yeah.
Not very many wineries make a straight Cayuga,
I do.
but yeah, I remember when we were here
You'll
in
have to try it. I think it's
July,
It's
June.
nice.
I was like, wow, I have to try this. I've never had just a regular Cayuga.
Yeah, the Cayuga
Huh.
is a beautiful berry. I mean, you get a lot of volume off it, but it produces a really nice, light, sweet wine. So a perfect summertime wine. I think. You guys will have to let me know what you think.
Okay.
All right.
St. Vincent's another one that some wineries grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done St. Vincent, so I've never done that, and I've never done Vidal. Although I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm seriously thinking about losing that Chardonnay that's been so problematic and putting Vidal in.
You're not the only person that's having trouble with their Chardonnay. I will say that.
What's that?
You're not the only winery that's having difficulties with
Right.
their Chardonnay. They wasn't quite as hard as what they were promised, and
Right.
they have more disease pressure and issues with it.
Right. It just seems like every year it's something. It may not be the same something, but every year there's something that happens to it.
A lot of wineries pulled out their Saval and put in,
See, I kept my Saval.
yes.
Now I wish I had planted. If I had planted 2 acres of Saval up there, I'd be sitting on a lot more wine every year.
So what's the problem with Chardonnay that you're having?
There's a series of problems. So I had a lot of dieback when it gets too cold, trunk injuries, and they die back. They're also, like I had a great crop out of it for 5 years. And then it just went into decline. So no matter what I did with my fertilization, with my pruning, with whatever, they were just declining. And then we had like a really terrible spring. I want to say, was it 2007? When everything came out. I mean, everything was out 2 feet, 2.5 feet. And then over 3 days in April, I remember it was the 16th, 17th, and 18th, it went down, low temperatures in the teens here, like 12, 14 degrees. And it basically split the trunks. You know, there was so much sap in the trunks, they all split. But, you know, after that, they came back. And so we'd never experienced that circumstance. So we were really slow to realize that, you know, no amount of work on top was going to fix the problem. The trunk was, you know, was damaged, and the viruses got in there and all that good stuff. So it took us 3 years to realize that we just had to level the whole block and regrow it. But when we did that, I don't know if it's because we had waited so long and the plants were declining every year with the damaged trunks. They didn't, you know, a lot of them never refired from the root. You know what I mean? Normally you cut them down at 4 inches and they're going to get a nice good sucker, and it's going to, you know, 1 year to retrain it, and then you got a good crop the next year. These guys, some of them didn't come back at all, some of them came back, but they were still weak. So, and then, you know, we're tearing out plants and replanting, and then, you know, that's a 3-4 year process before you really get a healthy plant in there. And then even some of the ones that we transplanted in were weak, so I don't know if they were of questionable stock from where we bought them. It's been a problematic section. I don't like the Chardonnay. I mean, I like the wine, but in the vineyard it's painful, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be happy to take you up there, but it's way up on the other hill. So you guys up for a walk, or you guys good? No,
not really. Y'all go. Y'all go.
We'll have other vineyards that we'll see throughout
Yeah,
the week.
I'm good.
Yeah, and if you find someone who's like having, you know, astounding success, have them call me, please. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Just ask for help from other vineyards. How often do you guys meet together and discuss issues?
I don't know, not very often.
So-
They might. I mean, I don't. I talk usually with the guys over at Wild Sun. I know them pretty well. They're about 10 miles from here.
Yep.
So Mark, are you guys going there?
No, we're not going to be able to make it today. We're going to LaChanze.
Okay.
To see Harold.
You see Harold. Well, that's cool. But Mark,
You don't like Harold?
Hey.
What's that?
You don't like Harold?
No, Harold's cool. I like Harold. I like everybody.
I wish we could stop at every winery. There's
I
you
bet.
know, about 6 more that I wish I could squeeze into this trip.
But yeah, Mark over there, he has a lot of experience. He was a winemaker for a couple of other outfits for years. And he also knows a lot about the vineyard. So we go back and forth. If I'm having a problem, I'll give him a call and he'll let me know what he thinks. And, you know, sometimes I'll reach out to the state and, you know, do whatever for tissue analysis or, you know, whatever I need to do. But
There's a couple associations. So there's the Grape Growers Association. There's about 425 grape growers in the state, about 1,700 acres of grapes. So there's a Grape Growers Association. They have a field day. And it rotates. So it was at Crown Valley last summer, and actually they're having one in Southwest Missouri this week. And then there is the Vintners Association that can help, and they do like wine qualities and tastings, and so they give feedback and say, hey, this is what I'm tasting, this is what you can do to prevent it and improve it. We also have the Grape and Wine Institute, which is associated with the University of Missouri. So they do consulting. They can come out and look and say, hey, we think you have this disease pressure, this is what you should do to counteract it. Or even if you're setting up a new vineyard, they do consulting for that as well, and say, based on your soils and the topography, we think, you know, Chamberson would do really well in these soil types. So there's a couple different organizations out there that can be resources for wineries in the state. We also have, GWI has a conference every March that is about a 3-day conference that wineries and winemakers can come into and try to, you know, see what's new and kind of interact with their counterparts.
Excellent.
yeah, so there are resources out there. I just don't use them. So.
Chardonnay.
It is tough though for the wineries to get away for that many days. They're so busy, you know, throughout the year that people find it tough. They'll come in for one day of it and look at the agenda and see what workshop's going to be best for them.
I mean, when we were starting out, I went to all the conferences. I did, you know, the classes. I did, you know, whatever. But there's a point, 5 or 6 years ago where it just kind of dropped off.
And the Midwest Beverage Expo is also in Missouri. Last year it was in St. Charles. This year it's going to be at Tantera at the Lake of the Ozarks, so more centrally located. And that's not just wine, but there's workshops and educational resources there as well. Thank you.
Do a better job of anchoring that. Thanks, Judy.
Sure. So this is my dad's last stand. I'll kind of qualify that. My dad doesn't hold to rigorous training systems very well. He just wants to see green up on a wire, and he's good with that. So if you notice, I'll tell you all my flaws here. The plant spacing is off because if there was an open spot in the trellis, my dad would just stick a plant in. So, I mean, it does work. I mean, I get a lot of save all off this block. The problem is you get differential ripening. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I have too much trellis on one plant, not enough on another, too many berries on one, not enough on the next. And so it's always difficult for me to pick the exact right time to harvest this block. But, it always works out. And I will say, it's save all. It produces a good yield. It grows through just about anything. And it continually throws, more berries. Right? So when I picked this a few weeks ago, these guys were all like barely anything. And it'll just keep throwing berries, and we used to take them off, but the plant seems to do fine with it on there, so we just kind of let it go. But yeah, so this is like our least favorite section of vineyard because we just let Dad prune it. He just does whatever he wants to it.
He's retired. He can
creative
do that.
training. It's all good. I mean, he's 83 now.
Yeah.
He can do what he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
Is your mom still alive also?
Yeah, Mom's probably making our lunch right now.
Okay, and does she, who takes care of, you have groundskeeper that takes care of the roses and the grass and all that?
Ron
or just
and,
mom?
I got two guys full time,
Okay.
Ron and Ben.
Okay.
Ron Norris, he's been my vineyard manager and grounds manager for
Okay.
over 10 years.
Yeah.
And Ben, he's been with us for like 5 years now.
Yeah.
They do, all the landscaping, the grounds, the vineyard, a lot of the maintenance. We're all kind of jack of all trades.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah.
you've already harvested this.
Yes.
And you're not, they're just going to grow and
They're going to do their own
grow
thing,
in
yeah.
and-
They'll never develop enough sugar to actually harvest again.
Right.
But it's just, this is the reason why a lot of people got away from Save-All, right? Because it constantly throws suckers off the shoots, off the bottom. It constantly puts new berries on the vine. It's just, it's
Suck 'em.
great in a bad year because you might get a frost and, you're going to get a pretty good crop off the secondaries, But it's also annoying, when you're trying to get everything to ripen at once. And it's more work because you constantly have to go through and desucker it.
Yeah.
So I understand why people lost this in favor of Chardonnay. But this has proven to be a much more successful grape for us in our conditions.
Makes some great wine.
Yeah, I think I think the Save-All I have in there now is one of the best I've had in years. All right. Literally at least 200 years old.
4318.
How old the cabin is.
Original building, at least 200 years old.
It's a dog trot cabin. So there's a cabin on the right, cabin on the left, and then when we go through to the kitchen, you'll see the original 10 by 10 cabin. And at some point after, they cut and raised the roof and put bunk rooms upstairs. And another funny story, when we first bought the property, before we even closed on it, we parked out there on the road, and we were starting to walk in, and right behind us another car pulls up. And we're like, are we in trouble? Right? And there was a couple of gentlemen with the really old guy. And as we're walking through, keep in mind, everything was overgrown here. This place had been an abandoned farm. There was it was a mess. So we're walking across what used to be a hayfield, and we start talking. And the old guy says that he just wanted to see this cabin one more time before he died, and that his great-great-great-grandfather had raised like 14 kids in this place. And he remembered playing here as a child, and that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
And of course, at the time, we didn't write it down. We didn't get his name. We didn't. We didn't even know we were going to do this.
Yeah.
But that's just a really cool kind of contact, if you will. But come on in.
He was mad as hell
Oh.
because nobody in the family bought this place. Oh man, was he mad.
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, he came across down here and he said, Mr. Dipple, what's the matter? He said, somebody in the family should have bought this stuff. That was so funny.
Yeah, Dipple, that was his name.
Did you point that out, all the chestnut trees there?
No, I didn't get to the chestnut trees.
We're going to have a chestnut festival here on the 20th.
Oh, fun.
That's our anniversary.
What?
On the
All of
30th?
those trees.
Nice.
At one time, chestnut was so prevalent in the States here that you could, if you were a squirrel, you could go from New York to practically Denver, Colorado, without touching ground, from one chestnut to another. And then
Oh,
they
wow.
get hit with a blight and they all die.
Wow.
So we got 3 varieties of chestnut over there. Is Italian, Chinese, and American.
Is it the ones back behind the vineyard?
Well, you can
We'll walk
see
up
it
Okay.
right there.
Yeah.
There's
Those
a
right
row of
there,
them
those
along
right
the,
there.
along
You
the
can
road.
see there's
Yeah.
about 8 or 9 there.
Yeah. Cool.
And they covered the road. And
And
yeah.
what's your name again?
This is my dad, Antonio.
Antonio. And
Artoni.
your first name Villa? No? Villa. Sorry. Espanol? No.
Espanol.
Italian. Villa. Okay. I get
You
it.
know-
I
You
get
know
it.
what villa is?
See.
House.
No.
Yes.
Villa?
house.
I thought a big
Villa.
house.
Villa means a house, a place that you live in.
Oh, okay.
A villa means an upper house, really, more than
Like
just
that house
a,
over there.
No, that's not a villa. That's a shed compared to a villa.
God. Oh, okay.
Yeah, a villa is something very fancy,
Oh,
very
okay.
update. You know,
An upscale house.
upscale house.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, an Italian villa. Right?
An
Yeah.
Italian.
Exactly.
We've all seen
Right.
pictures of those.
Exactly.
So yeah, the name derives from,
Antonio.
you know, Villa Antonio, Tony's house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Villa means house.
Excellent.
So anyway, come on in.
What you drinking?
Chardonnay.
All right. So you can see
He was drinking Chardonnay. The owner passed it on. Oh, this is so cool. Wow.
No worries. So this is, like I said, this is the breezeway between the two of the
Two
cabins.
cabins.
The back area here, that was actually just a covered porch that the previous owners had enclosed.
This is so cool.
Yeah, and these are, unfortunately, these are the only log walls we were able to actually show. In a couple other places, it looks like the cabin caught on fire and they put it out just in time because of the scorched logs. And also, at some point, termites got in here, long before we were here. But like this log here is mostly sound on
Oh,
this
yeah.
side, but it's mostly gone on the other side. You can put your whole foot in there. You know, it's impressive. And yet, it's still standing, and
Wow.
it hasn't really settled or shifted in the 20 years that we've been here.
So you guys did this? You put the
did-
two together?
No, this was all together. So
Okay.
What we did was, like, how to describe it? The front door was painted green, like not even a pretty green, like lime green. It was rough. All right. There was one of those mini lights up here, but it had 3 15-watt bulbs, and each bulb was wired to a different switch.
Oh.
Right? So, like, over here somewhere was the switch, and there was a big air return duct. The ceiling was higher there, and the door was actually cut, an L shape was cut out of the door so it could go over the duct, right? And I mean, it was rough. All of these logs were covered with oak paneling.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
They
not
were-
the real oak paneling, but like the stuff from the 70s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I kind of figured
You know,
that.
like the real dark walnut
Yeah.
looking, whatever.
Fake stuff.
And the floor underneath here, there's the original plank floor is down, or maybe not original, but an old plank floor. It was painted like super dark brown. So you come in here and it was like, you're just like in a danky, dark little tunnel. It was terrible, right?
Uh-huh.
So we gutted everything, all these rooms, everything you see, we gutted it all down to just the logs. And then we, like this floor over here, we've replaced the whole thing underneath because the log supports that went across, I mean, there's no foundation, it's just rock piers. The logs had been so rotten that they collapsed. So we had to redo all of this. And it used to be that water off the road would come down and go around the chimney and flow underneath the cabin. So we had to fix all the drainage, and that got rid of the termites and the other. It's been kind of a never-ending sort of process. But yeah, if you had been here 20 years ago, it wouldn't have looked the same. But yeah, so come on through. We have our office space on the other side for
Really
sales
good
and
pictures.
whatever.
Pretty cool
This is our
story.
gift shop. You know,
Cute,
this is
cute,
mostly
cute.
so-
Oh, wow, look at
We're also doing some pastries and desserts now that Mom whips up. You know,
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
like
Yeah,
these
you're
are the
fine.
little Italian kind of pastries. You know. But yeah, so Mom's really good at making just about anything Italian.
She adopt people,
Yeah.
At
she
all?
does. She's very
right?
I get my dog and my husband.
Yeah, I'll walk through and I'll take you over to, just watch your step, being an old place, none of the floors match up.
Oh, this is way too cute. To take your bottle of wine. Is that not cute?
Incognito.
I'm loving that.
tag off so nobody knows, right?
Oh, please take a picture. That's so cute. That is so cute. How much is that? Oh, cute, cute, cute.
Is so rich in history with Missouri.
Well,
But before that was
Norton,
the claimant is there.
so hardy. Never have to spray it.
I mean, why not? Dad's been cooking grappa since he was
Resistant to almost everything.
for a long time.
This all comes from Antonio.
But you
I
know,
think there's still an argument about Norton and what is the other one there?
Indiana.
The Cynthiana.
Oh yeah, which to call it? Yeah.
And yet they can't still find the difference between them.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny if you go up to the sculpture park in St. Louis, Montpelier, there are wild Norton grape vines
Oh, wow, really?
growing
They just said we never sprayed it. Whereas before, when we had the seedless variety, we had to spray every week. And that's a big hassle because you got all the kids, all the tables out of your way, and you got to wash everything down. Well, you know, you don't want to put poison in the table.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so it's working out.
So I'm just going to take you through the dry whites and the dry reds, and then we'll hit the sweets if you guys want to try the sweets.
All the time. Northern wineries, a lot of wineries use this as a blending grape. So this is a rare opportunity to actually try a true Cayuga White as a varietal.
Yeah, as I said, I think the Cayuga makes a nice glass of wine.
That was nice.
I think it's really pretty.
You know, they say it's not heavy, it's not thick. I mean, it's certainly not a, you know, a Chardonnay, but it's very light, a little bit sweet, a little tart. I think it, as I said, it's a good summer wine.
No, I like it.
All right. Did anyone do these or are these extras? This one's yours? Is this anyone? I think that's yours. Does anyone else?
After all these years.
You can have his.
I actually like it quite a bit.
I would like to. I might just save a little bit and let it warm up.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
Yeah, as I said, it will open up. It's,
yeah.
yeah, it's one of the things about the Midwest, believe it or not. Everybody wants their wine like a beer. They want it.
Ice
They
cold.
want it cold, and it's like you don't get
Yeah, you can't
the
really
full, you know, flavor and,
Yep.
and aroma off it. But
Yeah.
you know, we do what sells.
No, you got it.
If,
Right.
if you don't make money, there's no point being here.
And then you can try to educate people, especially your regulars,
Right.
and bit by bit they'll come around.
And I also know part of it is like this time of year, you take it out there and it's cold. In a half hour,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
in a half hour, it's not so cold, even with an ice bucket.
Yeah.
All right, so is everyone done with the Cayuga?
That's too small. I want to take a picture of the bottle.
What do you need?
Yeah.
All right, you ready for Save All? And if anybody wants more, just let me know. I'm not sure whose this is, but I'll fill it anyway.
Thank you.
I'm sometimes guilty of not paying attention. Did you talk about Cayuga grapes? And if not, would you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let me fill your glass, because now we're on Save All. But
Yeah. If you could, or we can back up.
If you put it in there and
If you want, you could back up to Cayuga for me.
oh, that's
and
okay.
not maybe
So
one.
Cayuga,
No, no,
here's the thing about Cayuga that people they think it's not a serious grape. All right, you have to pick it when it's 16, maybe 17 bricks. All right, you can't. It's not going to get to 20. I mean, we've tried to wait. All right, it doesn't go past that. And when it gets overripe, the flavor is actually less. All right, so you're picking it young. You know, it's enormous. Like in a good year, I can get 2-pound clusters off Cayuga. It's just a beautiful cluster. It's large berries. It's a thin skin. So you don't have the density, you know, of flavor in a Cayuga. But it's just a nice wine. So you can make it as a pure Cayuga. You can blend it. This is the main. I'm sorry, Cayuga is the main ingredient in most of my sweet wines.
Okay.
You know, and we blend other stuff in there too. But that's what's mostly there. You know, it gives you a tremendous yield too. Like I can easily get 6 tons, sometimes up to 10 tons an acre. So it's a good producer.
And is that a grape that's Western grape?
No,
Or
it came where it
up
comes
into
from.
New York,
The
perhaps?
parentage comes from New York.
That
It's-
was my favorite.
Yeah, Lake Cayuga, right? It's right there. It came out of the Fruit Experiment Station in Geneva, New York, which I think was part of Cornell University.
Yeah.
I poured it, but I don't know who for.
I think this is one too.
I poured that one too. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not gonna drink both. Yeah, so when this warms up, you should get some good, you know, peach apricot notes on it. As I said, I like this a lot, but not everyone cares for Ceylon. It's just one of those
It's
things.
got an interesting bite at the end.
Oh, really?
I can really get the apricot.
You get the apricot?
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm tasting.
Oh, I think it's wonderful.
Like I said, you know, like what was it? Someone once told me there's exactly 2 kinds of wine in this world: the wine you like and the wine you don't.
That's right.
Right. So it's all good. Yeah. So Save All is just like Save All is just tried and true for us. I mean, we've had it forever. It's not, you know, it's not a phenomenal grape, but I mean, you can make a good wine out of it, and it's well suited to our climate. So no matter what happens out there, I'll get at least 2 tons of Save All. I mean, I don't care if there's a spring freeze or hail or, you know, just about any kind of, you know, problem with the growing season. I'll do well with the Save All. I'll get a fresh bottle.
Yeah, the Cayuga is nice as it was.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You guys are all so serious now.
Right? It's because you are the first winery. Wait until the last one.
Further
Yeah, it
in.
tends to get louder and louder as the day goes on.
Right. Well, my wife and I went out to Napa and Sonoma a few years ago, you know, and you go there and you do the tastings, but I honestly don't know how that works, just because after 3 wineries, I was like, man, I cannot
Yeah.
do anymore. I'm going to
Yeah.
get killed on these roads, right?
Yeah.
So, and you can't, they don't usually have like an area for you to sit and like relax. You just go into the tasting room, pay for your flight, try it, and go. It's like, man, I don't know. That part of it, I mean, they have great wines, but I don't like that experience as much. Yeah, you come out here on a weekend, I don't know whose this is, but you come out here on a weekend, you listen to some good music.
I don't think
You
we
know-
need that one.
You don't need this one?
There you go.
All right.
Pour a little for me, Tom. Judith, I'm not sure what you're doing with your glasses.
Sorry, I'm
running
too slow.
Well, I'm sorry. If I'm rushing, I'll just slow down, guys. There's no hurry. I got all day. Now, what's interesting about the Chardonnay is this particular Chardonnay, I made it a little bit differently. I did a concurrent malolactic fermentation with the primary, so you shouldn't get a lot of butter on it. It should just be lots of fruit, but it's also got the French oak on it, so you get the oak chips in there as well, which I think makes for a really pleasant glass of wine. But
That's nice.
some people don't care for the oak, you know. But.
Yeah, that one.
I like that.
It's good.
Right,
It's
it's
just
good-
not
it's
too
a good
much.
balance.
Yeah, you can really get
Ready?
that
Yes,
oak, but
nice.
it's not too oaky. But you know it's in there. You know, it's that wood. I immediately got wood.
Yeah, sure. You need a new glass? Yeah, that's what it's there for.
A little bit. Thank you.
Do you want a little bit?
I'm driving.
Oh, you're driving,
so
you
that's
can't.
going home with me for sure.
Okay. No worries. All right. Does anyone have any questions at all? I mean, I'll give you guys a little break here before we get to the next thing.
We're used to this.
What's that?
We're used to this.
You're used to it?
Yeah.
Power through it?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever judged competitions and that kind of thing? Any of you? Because I always wondered, when you're tasting that many wines in a row, doesn't your palate just get wiped out? You know?
It does sometimes. Absolutely. I mean, I think
When we went to the Wine Bloggers Conference the very first year, it was started, like 10 or 11, By 1 o'clock, I understood why you spit.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
cannot do it.
Yeah,
You
probably
have
was
to
I
learn.
was so
Yeah.
lucky. A couple of wine pros got a hold of me at my first conference and said, "Be careful, be careful, be careful.
Oh, yeah.
You have to spit. You
Yeah.
have to dump it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to." And they were so correct, and I lived through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We do this thing at the Bloggers Conference that I think is one of the times when your palate can really go dead. We do this thing called it's live blogging, but it's really speed tasting. And you have somebody come to your table for 10 minutes.
If
that.
I think
If that.
it's more like 5 or 6.
Yeah. And we go through 10 wines at a time.
In 10
Something like
minutes?
that. Yep.
No.
No.
In an hour.
in an hour.
Okay.
It is.
So
You
people
have
rotate around the
You have
table.
somebody coming to your table with at least one wine and trying to tell you all about it. You're trying to taste it and make notes, and then the next one's there, and then the next one's there, and after 4 or 5 of those, it's like
They all
okay,
blur together,
I'm
yeah.
done. Slow down. It's
Right.
too much.
Yeah, I
They
couldn't.
break up the red from the white.
Yeah, at least they do
They
that.
do that. They do the whites and rosés and then the reds, but
Yeah.
it's the speed, and it's fun and crazy because we're all tweeting at the same time
Right.
and they're showing what people are saying. But it's just too.
Right. I can't
I'm not a
imagine.
huge fan
I
of that.
really,
It's
yeah.
It's really
Well, like I'm usually a pretty slow drinker, so I just want my one glass of wine, and I'll just kind of enjoy that for a while, and then, so to taste a lot for me that's not my thing.
Yeah. I think I just mentioned.
But I
it
can
in terms of
certainly
your
appreciate,
palate.
you guys that do that. All right.
I really like that.
What's that?
We skip it too.
You skip in? All right.
It gets to be too much.
Yeah.
We didn't go last time. I think we went to one of them. And it's just too much. And you need to nap sometimes. My goodness, it never stops. The girls until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Parties.
how long
know.
has it been open?
Again, last year was really tame. There wasn't a whole lot of that going on.
Yeah.
We weren't given the space. Like even people who are really traditional in their house weren't allowed to.
Really?
Hotel.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine being there at that time with the fires and.
Yeah, the first morning when we drove through Santa Rosa and drove through so much of the construction.
Could you smell it?
Santa Rosa.
In the air still?
Married there.
Well, not maybe some lingering, but we drove down by where it had been.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing but fire.
All right, you guys ready for red?
Yes.
So Vina Rosa,
Yeah.
this is, it's basically Shamerson, but I did a very cold fermentation on this, so it's a little bit lighter, and then it's sweetened back up to a little bit less than 1%. So it's kind of, again, a summertime red. It's light.
That bottle right here, so I can get a picture of it here.
Light red, it's good with real food.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think,
you say you sweetened this up again with sugar, or what? How did
yeah,
you?
with fructose.
Okay.
So you a lot of, again, in the Midwest, a lot of people want sweet wines, right?
Sure.
So I don't like, it's easier to let it ferment to dryness, and then you
I see.
then you add it back in.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot more controlled than trying to stop it,
Okay.
by chilling.
Got it.
Okay, and this is the Vina Rosa.
The Vina Rosa, right. And this, of course, changes, year to year, but this particular Vina Rosa, I'm very happy with it.
And what's your blend again?
It's straight Shamerson this year.
Straight Shamerson.
It's straight Shamerson. But as I said, other years I might put some Norton in it or something else. But this particular blend it's not a blend. It's just straight Shamerson.
Yeah.
But as I said, I did treat it quite differently than the main Shamerson.
Yeah, and the way it's described is blended, but you need to assume that might be more than one grape.
Right. Well, yeah. It's
And there are sometimes.
right.
Not
Sometimes.
too sweet.
I think it's
No, it's
nice.
just
That's not too sweet.
0.9.
It's not.
0.85, 0.9, somewhere in there.
That's interesting. I would not have necessarily called RS on that.
Huh.
I hope you like it. As I said, I think it has some good fruit up front.
That's
It's
not too
smooth.
sweet.
It's well balanced. As I
There's
said,
a lot of things I'd like to pair with this summer food.
yeah. All right. So this Shamerson's more of a traditional Shamerson. It's fermented at high temperature. It still has the oak on it. It's full malolactic, and it's I consider it to be a medium body. It's hard to get anything more than that out of Shamerson, but it's a good glass of wine. Is everyone? So as I said, the interesting thing is this and the previous, it's the same grape, same harvest, same everything, just different style. Yeah, take your time. Do you want another glass?
Sure. And we can look at two Shamersons next to each other. Two styles.
So is there, on the first one, is there oak or no?
No.
I didn't think so.
Almost maybe the same one twice. That would have been interesting, especially if you found a difference.
It would have been hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's going to be caught right away. Just color.
Which one? Shamerson? What?
Take a little bit.
It's strange.
Yeah, I learned the hard way that you have to always rinse the glasses out of the case. You guys ever tried one straight?
What's that? Well, no. One straight what?
A glass right out of the case without rinsing it? You guys ever smell that? It's
Dusty.
awesome. It'll ruin any good wine.
Yeah.
Smells like cardboard.
And the other thing you have to be so careful in restaurants is if they've left any residue from detergent or anything on the glass,
That'll-
smell it right away.
Yeah, it'll
ruin
yeah.
it.
Like, yeah, there's nothing like putting a good wine in a bad glass. All right. What do you guys think of the Chamberson?
I like it.
I like it too.
I do too.
As I said, I don't think we can compete with wines on the world stage, but I think they're pretty decent.
So that's a good question, and I was thinking of that before we came. Is what with the Norton grape, the Chamberson, and so forth? What kind of recognition is there out there in the industry versus, Merlot or Zinfandel or
It's local.
Cabernet?
It's local. If you go to the people in South County that come down here all the time and you tell them, do you like Chamberson? They'll be like, yeah, I love it, If you go to California and say, when's the last time you had Chamberson? They'd be like,
Either I
what
don't
are you
know what
talking
it
about?
is, or yeah,
Right. It's like, that's a hybrid grape. That's not real wine.
Right.
But I think that that's not the case. I mean, maybe 20 years ago, you could look down on hybrids. But, I mean, I know I've had worse wines from all over the world than what I produce. And I've had better wines, So we're just out there somewhere, and you guys will be trying wine from a lot of different Missouri wineries. Some will be worse than mine, some will be better. But I think we all are doing a good job. I think we're certainly growing the industry. I think we're raising the bar as far as quality. Now, I think it's harder to make good wine out of hybrid grapes because the pH you're not going to get perfect grapes every year. We're not in that Mediterranean climate where you can, rely on, warm, dry weather, and you can engineer how much water you give the plant through irrigation. I mean, if it rains a lot, my sugar content drops. If it's, too hot, my acid levels, decline. If it's too cold, I have more acid in the berries than I need. So I think we have to be more versatile maybe than people, in those perfect climates. But that doesn't mean we can't make good wine. All right. Move on to the north.
112.
Overboard.
I think I've ever had it.
What's that?
Good.
Is Norton just popular? Where's Norton? I don't think I've ever had a Norton.
So it's indigenous to here.
Missouri? That's what I was
Missouri,
thinking.
Illinois, Arkansas,
Virginia. Okay.
Virginia. I think one of the early names for Norton was Virginia's something. Virginia Seedling, is that what it was called? So it's a heavy grape. It's full of flavor. I said, this is a decent Norton. I'm not going to say it's the best one I've ever made, but I like it.
Is this last year?
This
16.
16. No. Here's my Norton. That's terrible. It's yeah, it is 16.
Are these all 16s or?
Yes. The Cayuga was 17, and the Seyval was 17, and actually the whites were all 17.
All right, Tom, so this is one of those wines where I get almost a little sparkle prickle on my palate.
It's the sparkle prickle is probably it could be. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's either malactic that didn't finish, which it should have. But if you're getting the sparkle prickle, there's something biological going on.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't
Get it?
be. But
I haven't tasted it yet.
Okay, now I'm getting it right on my front of my tongue.
Do you mean like an effervescence or me?
Try it. It's certainly not fermenting in any way. There's
Yeah.
no sugar in it.
No, I'm getting that a really distinct feel back on my tongue. And it reminds me of what I sometimes get with natural wine.
I was just going to say that. It's like a little natural winey thing.
Well, that's interesting. It's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Norton's a tough grape. It certainly is. I've had more fits making Norton than any other wine.
Really?
just because the acid balance is so tough, and then it can be prone to having lots of problems. But as I said,
What is your sales on that as compared to the other reds?
my best-selling red is the sweet red. Second best-selling is the Vinerosa, light and sweet, or slightly sweet. Chamberson's next, and Norton's the least.
Okay.
But the Norton can stay, it can stay in the bottle for years, and it'll just get better. So I don't really care if it doesn't sell right now.
Yeah, because I've had some with some age on it that's really nice.
That's what I would like to
Yeah. Do you keep
see
library
the
wines?
difference
or
of that.
I'm
Do
sorry?
you keep library wines?
Generally not.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah.
All right, you guys are good. I'll start rinsing your glasses.
Norton's interesting.
Different.
Yeah, different.
Mine.
I think this is.
Yeah, either one. That's okay.
I missed. At least I didn't get your phone.
No, that's true. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Thanks.
Who else needs a rinse?
I do. Please. Thank you.
All right, is that everybody? Yeah, pretty much one of everything. I think this opener's about to break on me. Bent the pin on it. All right, Gocciadoro. This is our first sweet wine. Matter of fact, my dad, when we first started producing wine, only planned to make good dry Italian wine. And after 1 year, we started making a sweet wine because everybody wanted a sweet wine. So this isn't particularly sweet, it's more of an off-dry. But again, to me, this is a nice, easy drinking wine.
This is. Wait, which one is this?
I skipped the Rosa Valentino.
Okay.
Oh, I missed the Amari. Well, we're on Goccia now.
Gocciadoro,
We'll come back around to Amari.
Okay.
Did everyone?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a taste.
You can take as much as you want.
Thank you.
You're not driving.
Take it with me. I know.
No, you don't. We don't care.
I might be more fun.
You're lots of fun, but Okay, so what's the grape here? The grape?
It's a blend.
Okay. Or is it secret?
Not really. I mean, it changes every year, to be honest.
Okay.
It's I'd say it's more than half Cayuga.
Okay.
And the rest is Save and Chardonnay.
Okay.
This is probably my second most popular wine.
See that?
I said it's a little sweet, but not overpowering sweet. The super sweet stuff is what sells best.
I'm from Ohio, and it's the same thing. It's
Right.
all sweet. Concord, yeah, that's the ice wine and things like that. Everyone just wants the sweetness.
Right, exactly. Which I can't. I mean, you drink sweet wine all day, man. You're gonna have a headache. You're gonna feel like. I mean, I don't know. I
Tummy will be
can't.
all sick.
This is as sweet as I can go right here. I don't. And that's.
And it needs to be in summer.
It's like,
Right.
This is like a I went when I was in Napa. I went someplace and she called something similar to this the porch pounder. She's like, I can just sit out and just pound this during the summer on the porch. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
I remember
it's-
which winery that was.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'll think of it. I wrote it down. I loved it. Actually, wasn't in Napa. It was in Monterey County.
Oh, then it wouldn't be what I was.
Yeah, I was thinking we did that. We did both of those on one trips.
Okay, gotcha. That's nice.
As I say, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. All right, so the Amore, this is a Chaminette, essentially.
Okay.
All right.
I remember this street.
But Amore sounds better. So,
Lots of chocolate.
Oh, sorry, honey. I keep stepping on you.
Ooh, what a pretty bottle. I like the blue.
yes, it's a Cobalt Blue. Anyone else?
Well, I remember it.
We're good. So as I said, the Amore, it's a Chaminette base, and Chaminette, you know, if you guys haven't had it before, is a hybrid with the German Gewürztraminer, which it picks up the floral aroma. It's almost impossible to kill the aroma on this thing. If I blend it, you know, 2080 with something else, it still smells and tastes like Amore. It's just an extremely powerful grape.
I do like the name. It's nice.
It works, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so,
But I like the differentness of it.
So I guess you guys can, hopefully you guys can see, I try to make the wine such that there's something for everyone. I try to hit all the different acid levels, the sweetness levels, the styles, you know, so no matter what you like, you can find something worthwhile. And if all that fails, in 6 months I'll have beer for you. Actually, that's not true. We have bottled beer now, but hopefully I'll have the microbrew up and going by spring.
So you're gonna have a whole different building for the brewery?
No,
Or are you gonna-
we're gonna piggyback for now.
Okay.
You know, just partition off part of my cellar down there, and then you know, we'll probably take out the soda machine here and put in, you know, beer on tap, and then you know, depending on how well that goes, I'll get a
Decide.
separate, you know, beer shack or something for it. Let's see. Lots of people tell me that there's tremendous demand on the microbrew side, so
Oh yeah.
we'll see how that
That's
goes.
exploding in Ohio, so I can imagine.
It's the same here.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, and you can track the decline in sales by Anheuser-Busch and the other big guys because the microbrews are they're just so popular, you know. And it's so much more varied. I mean, pretty much all bottled beer is a lager, I think. So, you know. Anyway,
What is this wine? This isn't the same wine, is it?
I don't remember if I just poured it or not.
Okay, it's an orphan wine. Okay,
It might be
it's
a
an orphan.
leftover.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So, what you guys fans of the Amore?
I like the aroma, the floral.
Yeah, real German style. Now that's up at like 3%. So it's again, it's sweet, but it's not going to kill you. And believe it or not, I think you guys might know, I think some wineries go up like as high as 8 or 10% sugar.
Yeah. So I see more like 7s.
Right.
In the dessert wines, we see a lot higher.
Right. My highest is the Valentino that you'll try here in a minute. That's only 5%. That's as high as I go. All right.
There's a crowd for the sweets though.
Oh yeah, there definitely is. So here's my blush. Although
Is this the Rosso Valentino?
no, this is the Rosetto.
Rosetto.
You're gonna get the Rosso is a red.
Yeah, I figured it would.
Yeah. Sorry.
What did you say about the grapes?
Did I just make it more difficult? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's a Chaminette. It's called Chaminette. Yeah.
Chaminette, right.
Chaminette.
I like that. I wasn't crazy over the Gotra.
Uh-huh.
There was something in that flavor that I just wasn't working for me, but this is really pretty good.
Well, good.
I'd like to do that with a fruity dessert.
It works. So this is Kool-Aid. Okay, I mean I'm not gonna tell you it's anything special because it's not. It's all my leftover whites sweetened up to 4%. You know, with some red blended in. It's you know.
You see, it's easy to drink for their sweet.
It's
wine
right.
lovers,
You know, I think once you get over 2.5-3%, people just taste the sugar, and you're really not getting a lot out of the wine. So my least quality wine goes into the sweet. You know, the sweeter it is, the lesser quality the fruit is. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to admit to that or not. If I'm not, please don't say it.
That's up to you.
I know. Yeah.
I'm sure people love it though.
Oh yeah, it
You know?
sells.
Yep.
Listen, it's not for me. I don't.
Yep.
I don't care for it. All right. Now for the positively sweet wine.
Thank you.
Did I miss anyone?
Yeah, I haven't moved on yet.
No worries. Did you try the blush?
Yeah, it's too sweet for me.
I know. This is even.
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah, it's like I can't.
This is like
What's the grape in this? Is this Cayuga? And
It's
that's
just a
like-
blend.
Just whatever. Yeah.
almost, dare I say, like a Moscato-y?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it
It's
is
the
a
sugar
little
one.
floral
Yeah.
on it, and yeah.
I mean, you put enough fructose in something, and you'll get your own nose just on the sugar.
Yeah.
Well, my best selling red, sweet red. So
And that was 5%, you said?
yeah.
Who's Valentino? Seems to show up in a number of them. Yeah. Good question.
Oh, Valentine. It means Valentine.
Okay, there's no one in your family named. Okay, yeah.
Although I do have a cousin Valentina in Italy, but
There you go.
I don't remember. I met her once when I was like 4.
So it's not named for her then.
Yeah.
Do you go back to Italy often?
No,
Does your father and your mom?
they went some years ago, but I still have cousins and aunts and uncles over there. But most of my dad's generation has passed. Yeah. He's actually the last of his brothers and sisters, of his sisters. He didn't have any brothers.
Oh, that's why he's so ornery, huh? 'Cause he
He's
was-
always been ornery, but it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Well, I mean, it has to suck when you get older because, like, he used to be down here with his Italian buddies. They'd be playing bocce, they'd be fishing. And, you could, like, funny story, like, one of the first times I brought my future wife down, right? They're down by, my dad and his buddies are down by the lake. They were fishing. And, these guys, like, they're just big Italian guys, and their accent is so thick. I can understand them because I grew up around them, but my wife was kind of lost. The only thing she could really grab was the curse words. They were in perfect English.
Oh, so they cursed in English.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. All Italian and F-bombs.
That's
whatever.
That's great.
It was just like, oh, God.
Because those are words they learned here, so
Right.
they didn't accent
Right.
that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah, so
hilarious.
it's anyway.
That's so
And then when they
funny.
all would drink too much, they'd sit out under the stars and they'd start singing in Italian, which was just...
I know what that
It was
was.
so much fun.
I bet that
There was a guy, Armano, who Armano Emo, he used to make sausage for Emo's Pizza in St. Louis, which is a big, franchise now. But he had a great voice, and they would just, I loved it when that happened, but I never recorded it. And it's just like, but you don't,
think about
you didn't have an iPhone back then,
Right.
where you could just hit record. But it's cool stuff. Anyway, the Rosa Valentino. So this is also at 5%, but it's not going to taste as sweet just because it's a pretty heavy red. Here. This one?
Sure.
This is when I rinse the red.
I haven't drank this one in forever, so I don't know. You just have to tell me if you like it or not.
Chamberson mainly, or
It's mostly Chamberson, but there's a fair amount of Norton in it as well.
I think the grapes actually are pretty good. Just can't get past that.
Sugar.
Yes.
See, I don't think it's as much as the sweet wines we have in Ohio. I don't think it's nearly as sugary as what we
This one?
produce. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have some that are like
Some of them,
7.
you're going to get to are going to be twice as sweet as this.
Yeah.
And I have people asking me for sweeter wine all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in Oklahoma. We're the same way. Don't
Sweeter than this?
This is
It's
sweet.
starting to happen now. Places will be wineries.
Yeah.
That's I draw the line at
Make a
5%.
pineapple.
Yeah.
If they want
Oh,
one,
yeah.
they have to
We get that too.
go back
Yeah.
to the farm or whatever.
At least just get your grapes from someplace else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Smile in this thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's it.
But you do. You have to sell.
Yeah.
You have to make
Oh,
what's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I like everything from the Amore on down. And I like the wine because of the nose.
It's not the makers of the wine. I don't think it's the consumer. It's the consumer that demands that because the consumers are not wine right at this point yet.
It doesn't do it. So I ended up at 3% just because that's where it seems to work best. But yeah, the last, you know, I sell those because
Everywhere I go, every state I go
Desserts
to,
with a couple of those.
Uh-huh.
They want that with a fresh peach dessert of some sort.
You grow up.
Raspberry. It's so lovely.
you know what I would like to try.
Sometimes, you know,
This, like,
my mother-in-law
have you
loves
ever had
scotch,
a chilled peach soup?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
That was great. I felt bad as I sat down and had a glass of water. I was like,
Oh yeah.
Just blueberries.
Yeah.
Never had that.
Yes.
It's
Actually,
I can like the recipe. You want it?
Yeah.
It's to die for. I'm really.
but it's got to be really hot and it's got to be occupied the pool and
I feel like I've had.
it's got to be cheap. I'm not spending that. Give me barefoot. There you go. There you go. I'll save my.
Yeah. Can I try another shot of the Cayuga now that it's warmed up a little bit? I probably better rinse though.
Yeah.
That was. I think that may be my favorite.
That's why
I
I'm
think
back.
I'm going to follow you and do the same thing.
Yep.
And then I'm also going to taste the Rosso again.
Well, this is about the nicest.
So Tom, I'm going to do the same thing. If I could rinse that and.
Of course, our palates are.
Well, and that's the thing. Your palate has to be tired after a while.
No, it's just the sweet.
Yeah.
The sweet.
It's just sweet tilted.
Yeah.
What would you like to try?
I'm going to have a little bit more of the Cayuga. The same thing. Just what Judith was saying. Now that it's warmed up, it's one of my two favorites.
Oh, good. It's not yogurt.
I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's better to do them side by
Yeah,
side.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
So who came up with your labels, the designs?
The labels go way back. Before we knew anything about wine labels, because I wanted to change them a while ago, and everyone in the family shouted me down. So the styles on the labels, we had a graphic artist who's a friend of ours who put this together as far as the picture and the overall look. What's interesting is if you look at the different styles, we couldn't choose between the two looks, right? But we knew we wanted something kind of, romantic or whatever for some of the wines. So we ended up splitting it with this on the sweet wines and this on the dry wines. All right. And the couple here, the photographer who took that picture, actually took it here in the vineyard. He had to lay on the ground in order to get that view. And then he did some kind of, I don't know, he reversed the colors, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not into that, but he did something to make it look that way. But this is an actual photo, and this is my cousin Marina from
some
years
stranger?
ago, and her husband Chris, yeah. Although she, I'm kind of sad, she just passed away from cancer.
Oh, that's so sad.
But those were happier days, and it's a great picture. So we'll certainly keep that label forever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have just under a half hour left. So if there's anything else, questions-wise, or any other photos that you want to get, or if you want to see the kitchen or anything.
Yeah, want to check out the wood oven?
No. Do you have one of each labels?
Just labels?
Just the label? No.
I mean, I have them down in the cellar, but they're all on. Matter of fact, I probably don't have all of them. I have some.
No, just one of each style.
Oh yeah. Sure. Oh, run down and get you one here in a minute.
Great. No rush.
Uh-huh.
Got 30 minutes.
I have 30 minutes. I can do
Apparently.
that. I can run there and back in 30 minutes. All right.